Hello, friends, and welcome to the monthly planning workshop. This is going to be a very practical 1 hour long workshop where you are going to set yourself up for success in the coming month. I'm recording the workshop specially for you now because we had the workshop with a small group 2 days ago, and that was an absolutely brilliant experience because I got to see everyone in the meeting. Even though we are from all over the world, we got to sit together and plan for a month together. So that is an absolutely brilliant experience. So stay tuned if you want to attend other monthly planning workshops with our community. Before we start, I would like to congratulate you for taking the time to plan for the month ahead. In the next hour, you are going to set goals for the month, you're going to plan for the first week, and also set a few habits that will take you closer to your dream life. So give yourself the gift of presence and be present here with your thoughts, with your dreams, with your goals, because we are going to break them down into actionable steps for the coming month. So grab a drink and let's get started. To make this workshop even more practical, I'm going to give you time to fill out your planner as we go. And it's a beautiful day here in Alicante, and I'm going to have some beautiful footage there and music to keep you focused and inspired. In today's workshop, we are going to use my monthly planner Notion template. If you don't have it yet, I'll leave a link in the description box so you can get it. This planner is absolutely perfect for balancing all areas of your life. Before we dive into the practical part of the workshop, I would like to share a little bit more about me and what inspired me to create this planner in the first place. So, my name is Mari, I'm a doctor turned entrepreneur, and during my career, I've always found myself trying to juggle different things at the same time. During my PhD, I founded a startup company, and later I started my YouTube channel. So you can imagine how busy life was. Now that I have finally finished my PhD, I started a new project which I'm so excited about. I'm building a community for ambitious, driven, like-minded people who are committed to getting to the next level in their professional and personal lives. That is for those of you who are dedicated to mastering your career, business, and health. So if you're thinking, yes, that's me, make sure to connect with me on my socials and my email list to hear from me when the community goes live. And even though I've always been career driven, I know that life isn't just about work and studies. There's so much more to life than just that. There's also taking good care of our bodies, nurturing our bodies, exploring this beautiful world, and connecting with people. And I know it is a real challenge to split our time and energy between our wealth, health, and relationships. If we're focusing too much on work and studies, we might lack the energy that we get from taking care of ourselves, or even the meaning that we get from traveling and connecting with people. That's when I realized that I needed a tool to help me create more harmony in my life. Something that would allow me to ensure that I was not only dedicating my time to my work and studies, but also to my fitness, diet, travel, and relationships. And that's how my monthly planner came around. So why do I love this planner so much? Firstly, it allows me to organize not only my professional life, but also my personal life as well. Secondly, it helps me reduce procrastination and increase my productivity. Because one of the causes of procrastination is uncertainty. That is when you're not clear on the tasks that you need to do. So sometimes I find that I don't quite have the energy to do one task, but surely I do have the energy to do another task. And having everything laid out in one place really helps me stay productive. Thirdly, it allows me to dedicate my time and energy to everything that matters to me. And that is not only my work and studies, as we discussed before. Finally, it allows me to find more peace of mind and reduce stress because I don't need to keep all my to-dos in my head. I can literally dump them onto my planner so I can focus on the tasks that I have at hand and don't need to keep in mind everything else that I need to do. This planner is for you if you believe you can achieve more by taking a proactive rather than a reactive approach to life. To take a proactive approach means taking a step back to have a look at your life as a whole, so you can decide how to spend your time based on your commitments and goals. This way, you can define your priorities, tasks, and habits. However, if you want to take a reactive approach, meaning that you're happy to deal with the demands as they come, then you definitely don't need a planner. You can just deal with life as it happens. Finally, this planner will only work for you if you commit to using it for at least 1 month. I know from experience that it takes time and effort to get used to using a new planning tool. I promise you that if you use it for 1 month, you will experience the full benefits. Now let's get into our monthly planning tutorial, and for that we are going to use the GPS method, which stands for Goals, Plan and System, and this is based on Ali Abdaal's productivity method. So the first step is to open your Notion template, and if you have already set your goals for the year, you can write them down here and use them as a guide to set goals for the month. This way you know that this month you will be taking steps to get you closer to your yearly goals. If you haven't set goals for the year and that sounds a little overwhelming right now, you can literally just delete this section here and set goals for your month only. You don't necessarily need to use these 3 categories here. Maybe you want to set goals for only one category, or maybe you want to break down one category into subcategories. For example, in wealth, you could have study goals, you could have work goals, you could have finance-related goals. So you can really customize this template to reflect your personal goals. I can share my goals as well because last time people found it very helpful in the workshop. So this is basically my own May planner, and these are my goals for the quarter. I usually like to break down my yearly goals into quarter goals. So I basically have 6 different categories here: business, brand, wealth, learning, physical health and mental health. And then I basically break down these goals into smaller goals for the month, right? So yeah, I hope that these give you some inspiration as well. So I'm going to set a timer now for 5 minutes to give you time to work through your goals. Brilliant. So now you should have your goals set for the month. And we can work through step number 2, which is to plan your priorities and moments. So if you go back to your template, you're going to see the priorities and moments here. For priorities, I think about my goals and set which of them are actually a real priority for me that month. So I know if I achieve those, it's been a good month. And I use this to prioritize my time when I'm planning my week. And in terms of moments, I like to note down all the special things that are happening that month. Maybe it is an event that I'm attending, or maybe it is someone's birthday, or maybe I am going on a trip. Whatever it is that fills my heart, that I want to remember, that is coming up in that month, I like to note it down there. Every time I remind myself that that event or that thing is coming up, my brain releases some feel-good hormones in anticipation for that happening. And you know, a lot of happiness doesn't come from the event in itself, but also from looking forward to it and remembering it as well. Just to give you an idea, these are my priorities and the moments I have planned for this month. I'm going to set a timer now for another 3 minutes so you can set your priorities and moments for the month. Brilliant! Now that you have written down your priorities and special moments coming up this month, it is time for us to tackle the last part of the tutorial, which is to set the system. And we are going to do that in 3 steps, okay? In the first step, we are going to define our tasks. So if you go back to the template here, you're going to see that under tasks, there is a task list. And I like to think about this as everything that I can possibly imagine I need to do. I just dump it in there. The way I have it set up is thinking about some of you that may work and study at the same time. But if that's not the reality for you, you may want to rename these categories to reflect what's relevant in your life. And what's beautiful about Notion is that you can customize it in any way you like to really reflect your life. And it is going to be different for different people because we have different things going on in our lives. Imagine now that you are a service provider, you're a sole trader who has different clients. You could rename this clients, and for example, this could be your client one, right? And you can even pick a different icon here for your client one. And you could do the same over here as well, and maybe have your client two, and so on. And maybe here would be marketing, for example. And you may even have different platforms for marketing. So maybe you could name this your Instagram, pick a camera, for example. You don't necessarily need to have 3 of these and 2 for each. You can have more, you can have less, whatever is relevant to you. This is your template and it should reflect your life. I can show you what my one looks like as well. I have my task list separate between marketing, monetization, and life. And within marketing, I have my YouTube, Instagram, email list, and website, which is still to come. In monetization, I have my products and any business related tasks. Finally, for life, I have my personal stuff and also social things. So I'll give you 5 minutes to customize this part to reflect your life areas. First, you can customize these, and second, you can dump down all the tasks that are in your head. I see you back here in 5 minutes. Alright, so now hopefully you have your task list sorted and we're ready for our next step, which is to plan the week. For that, we're gonna go back to the planner and open the relevant week. For example, if you wanted to plan week 18, you can just come down here and all weeks are planned in the same way, right? So here you can set the top priorities for the week. You don't necessarily need to have 5. If you want to have 2 priorities, that's okay. If you want to have 5 or 7 priorities, that's okay as well. Whatever is achievable for you. And I like to set priorities considering the Goldilocks zone. I don't want it to be too difficult nor too easy. I want something that is going to challenge me to get more done, but I don't want something that is so overwhelming that is going to paralyze me. When I'm setting the priorities for the week, I usually have a look at the tasks that are coming up, anything that is urgent and important, and also I have a look at my monthly goals and priorities, just to make sure that everything is very well aligned. So now I'm going to show you my priorities for this week so you can see an example of how I use this. In this week, I decided to set priorities considering different categories, and these are also ordered based on their importance this week in particular. This order of importance may change next week. Next week, I may have Instagram as a higher priority, and so on. Within each category, I have the tasks ordered based on their level of priority, of their level of importance that week. Then basically, I use these priorities to set the tasks here according to them as well. So it is a really easy way for me to see how my tasks are related to my priorities and these priorities are related to my goals, right? As an example here, now I'm recording this for you so I can take that, and once I'm done with the recording, I can take this as well. And what I love about this planner is that it is super easy for you to adapt your plan based on what's going on. For example, I know it's a little too late now for me to try and record this. And it's not such a huge priority for me. It's definitely more priority to send this email and get this task done. So then I can move it, for example, to Sunday, when I may have more time to do it. Also, having a clear idea of what's coming up helps me batch tasks. So I might do these tasks on the same day because they require the same kind of setup on my laptop, and it makes it easier for me to get them done. One thing that you may notice is that some of the tasks may not make sense for you. For example, here I have it written as bike. What does that mean? To me, it is very clear. I know I need to take the bike to the repair shop. So as long as it is clear to me, I don't need to add more details there. I know some people are like, oh, you need to be very specific when you write it down, but I really don't buy into that. I think as long as it is very clear to you, that's enough. I don't usually plan my whole week. I prefer planning my days instead, right? So at the beginning of the week, I might just sit down and write my priorities there. If I know there is a particular thing happening on one day or that it needs to get done on one day, then I will add it there. So for example, if I know I am attending an event on Tuesday, I might write it down here. Or if I know I have an assignment due on Friday, I might write it down here, for example, right? Just so I keep that in mind and I remember that that is coming up on that particular day. So now I'll give you 5 minutes to create a plan for your week. Take into account your tasks and also your priorities and goals for the month. Right? You can write down your priorities here first, and then you can assign tasks to different days. Alright, so we're back, and now it is time for us to do the last step of this tutorial, and it is such an important one. It is about setting habits, right? Defining the habits we want to track and establish in this month. There's this quote that I love. It says, "You will never change your life until you change something you do daily." The secret of your success is found in your daily routine. And I'm such a firm believer of that. And this is why I find it so important to set the right habits that allow us to create the life we want. Because overnight success isn't really a thing. It usually takes a long time of intentional effort to really build something meaningful. And that's what we are about to do here. And to help you set habits that are aligned with the way you want to live your life, first you need to think about your goals, right? You want to set and track habits that will help you achieve your goals. To make it easier for you, I have a few suggestions of habits you could incorporate into your daily routine. And I called this list 12 Habits for Life. So I separate the habits into the three main life areas, which are wealth, health, and relationships. And for each of those, I have suggested 4 different habits. But please, don't overwhelm yourself with setting too many habits to follow. Pick the ones that will serve you best, that will support you on your journey to getting to your goals. So for these habits, it can either be something you do or something you don't do. For example, nurture your body. It could be something like cook 3 times a week. That's your habit, the habit you want to establish, right? Or it could also be to not have any added sugar 5 times a week, for example. Whatever you think is going to help you achieve your goals, and so you know deep down what are the habits that will allow you to really get to the next level in your wealth, health, and relationships. I'm going to highlight a few that I believe are very important for everyone. The first one is to plan your day. I believe that planning your day allows you to set an intention that is aligned with where you want to go. So, this is definitely something I swear by. Second is to organize your space. I believe that living in an organized space really helps you be productive in your other areas of life as well, because otherwise your mind is going to be too consumed about all the things that you have to do that are clearly at your face. Next is to create a sleep schedule. This is very fundamental. If you don't have a sleep schedule, you really need to work on this, because as human beings, we operate better, we are going to perform better in our work if we sleep and rest well. Following a sleep schedule is going to help you ensure that you're getting enough hours of sleep, and also it gives the structure to your day. Move your body. This is going to give you more energy. A lot of people think, oh, I don't have energy to go and exercise. Well, it's actually the other way around. You don't have energy because you haven't exercised. It works. So, really, when you feel like you have less energy, that's probably when you should prioritize exercise. Maybe not on that day. If you're feeling too drained, that's okay. You can rest, but the next day you need to prioritize exercise. Next is to do your self care, and this is so fundamental, because if you're not taking care of yourself, how can you take care of others, of other things, of other people? And your self care practice will probably vary depending on what's going on in your life, what you need in that moment. But to me, it's all about self respect, showing up for yourself and taking care of yourself first, so you can do a better job taking care of other things and people. And finally, disconnect from distractions. I believe this is so important in our day to day life because we are too stimulated by our digital environment these days. And that's why we find it so hard to focus on work because our minds are so accustomed to having a lot of stimulation. And the minute you need to sit down to do something boring, like reading or doing some mentally difficult work, your mind is going to try to get stimulated in some other way and it's going to keep on distracting you. Disconnecting from distractions is going to allow you to focus better on your work and also focus on yourself because sometimes we're so distracted by other people's lives, other people's demands, and other irrelevant things going on that we don't pay attention to what is actually going on in our lives. So it is very important for us to protect our time and attention here and disconnect from distractions. The way that I implemented this in my life was to set a habit to avoid using social media before 11 a.m. and after 8 p.m. So I try to be very mindful of my social media use because I know I can get too focused on other things going on, and that creates a little bit of anxiety because I see all these amazing things happening in other people's lives and I'm not acting on the things that I wanted to be doing with my time. So hopefully these gave you ideas for habits you could establish in your life. And you can go back to the planner to define the habits you want to follow. So there are 7 different habits here that you can customize, but you don't necessarily need to have 7. If you want to have only 6, you can come here and delete this one, for example, okay? So let me show you how you can customize this to track your habits. If you want to track your runs, you can write run and then pick a runner guy here. Whatever makes more sense to you, right? And what's brilliant about this is that as you're going about your day doing these habits, it's going to count your progress here, and it is also going to count your progress in this way as well, right? So you can see how many times you did something for a week and so on. You don't necessarily need to have habits that you do every single day. Maybe your metric of success is to do it 3 days a week, 2 days a week, whatever makes sense for you, right? That's what's beautiful about it because you have total flexibility here to really design this to serve your life. One thing that I want to highlight here is don't make life so difficult for yourself. Sometimes we tend to put so much expectation on our future selves, and when it's time to execute, we let ourselves down, right? So you want to set habits and the frequency of habits that is doable. Something that you can for sure do 80% of the time. And if you do it 80% of the time, you can count that as a success. So now I'm gonna give you 5 minutes to think about habits that you could set to get you closer to your goals. So we have gone through the GPS system and you are all set to have a great month. A final part of this planner that I would like to highlight is the review section. This is very simple. At the end of every week, I write down one sentence to highlight what was the biggest win that week, what was the biggest lesson that week, and one highlight that I have. So as an example, this week I'm celebrating that I did this workshop and that was great. And one lesson for me here is to be less perfectionist. I really need to change my mindset here because I take a long time to do things because I want them to be perfect. And sometimes it is better to be on time than to be perfect, right? How can I improve on this? I need to really embrace the mantra, done is better than perfect, right? It is much easier said than done, but I will try again next week. And I also like to set a highlight, and for me this week definitely is going to Alicante. Because even though we're here in Alicante, we don't get to go to the city so often, and it's always nice to be out there and enjoy it. Finally, at the end of every month, I have a few monthly research tasks that I do as well. But these are only at the end of the month, while these I fill them out as the weeks go by. Brilliant! Now we are all done. Well done for getting here. It's been a lot of work, but I'm sure you can see the value of using this planner now. To wrap up, I have a few suggestions for how you can set yourself up for success in making it a habit to use this planner. And the first one is to set up Notion. Download it on all your devices. And you can also use the favorite function to favorite the monthly planner page so you always have it at the top. In here I have the May planner at the top, so it's super easy for me to access it. And also on your phone, I'd suggest adding the widget to the Today view. One way to incorporate this planning into your life is to embrace daily planning. So every morning when you start work, make it a little bit of a ritual to open your planner, go through the tasks, and plan your day. Also check in during the day to see how you're doing. And finally, when you're finishing your day of work, you can incorporate using the planner into your shutdown ritual. You can review your tasks for the day, tick off the ones you have done, and reschedule the ones that you didn't get to do. Well done in getting to the end of this tutorial. Congratulations! So if you've made it this far, it means that you're enjoying this tutorial, you found value in it. So make sure to connect with me on my socials. And if you want to get inspired to establish some healthy habits into your routine, I suggest that you watch this video next. I hope to see you there. Bye!